I wanted to ask you if it ever happened that you brought something to group and they were unanimous in their reaction.
Sure,
Oh,
it's not pleasant, especially well when they're not supportive. And yeah, it takes that's a good experience to survive and be able to go back and be like, this didn't feel good. Now,
mm,
common analytic wisdom is if that happens, or pretty much whatever happens, I've induced them is the word we use. I've prompted or subtly evoked them to have that reaction. And so it's an important event to explore what is it about me and how I presented it and what it meant to me or whatever that I unconsciously invited everyone to have this reaction.
what's an example?
I mean, it could happen. I'm thinking of I don't know, it's harder to think of examples because generally there'll be some people who give different views.
But when I asked that, you immediately said, like, yes.
I know it's happened in my history, but I can't remember exactly what was going on.
Yeah, because you said like immediately yes, and then it seemed like it was like painful. So I
I
wondered,
do remember it being painful, but I don't remember what the things were.
uh-huh. So what was the pain? Was it like I'm such an idiot and this is so embarrassing?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know, you don't get it, you don't see me, you don't appreciate my ideas, you're not appreciating how it's affecting me that you're responding in this way. And part of that is I'm not presenting it with a receptivity, with vulnerability. Part of what invites that unanimous reaction is when I'm showing up in a kind of Teflon, invulnerable, invincible, you can't affect me mode.
Mm-hmm.
That how you present a thing is far more evocative of reactions than what the thing is usually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did the thought of not coming back to the group ever occur to you after an
Oh
instance
yeah.
like that?
Oh yeah. I mean, I actually a lot of people not to name any names, have that thought very easy to access. I actually have to reach for that thought because my tendency is a kind of compulsive loyalty rather than allowing the pain to translate to the fantasy of leaving and then being able to use that fantasy as an expression of anger and connection and say, hey, this hurt me and scared me and made me so angry that I was thinking about leaving. I don't want to leave. I want to have you know and see how you affected me and to be reassured that I matter to you.
That's a conversation you had with your group members after.
In different words, multiple times.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then what? They would like soften.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, again, if you go back after that, what the hell? I brought this up in the last 10 minutes, maybe unconsciously also contributing to the reaction that I got. They had this reaction, and then we had to end group. And my impulse is, I'm never going back there, a bunch of losers. And so if you overcome that and come, and this applies so much relationally for those people who actually want to learn something and apply it to the relationships, just the willingness to come back, meaning that you've somehow contained or relativized the initial wave of hate and despair and rejection, and you've come back. Just that will soften people quite a bit. People will respect it, and they'll say, "Oh, no, I wasn't." It immediately becomes more nuanced and more complicated. I wasn't responding that to this. I didn't mean to say this way, that way. So, and you do that a bunch of times, and then it helps. Well, you can say whether it helps or not, but for some people it translates to life, relationships in life.
So there wasn't like an instance from the past few months that you brought something and the group was, you're totally wrong, or you're totally right,
Well,
or
I've
this
gotten.
is
I mean,
definitely a bad idea.
uh, I don't recall a unanimous one, and I've gotten much better at catching it in the moment so that it can immediately start to soften and get more complicated, and there being multiple opinions. Being able to say, hey, like, that doesn't feel good the way you're saying it to me. You might have a good point, but it doesn't feel good. Like, usually will very much make the reaction more complex, more varied.